So here's the big question. Did Donald Trump do enough last night to stop the weekend bleeding and to begin to recover some lost ground? Scott Jennings is here. He did political analysis for the George W. Bush White House. Joins us from Kentucky. Scott, your thoughts on whether Trump did himself enough good to bounce back here last night?
It's a good question because in this NBC News Wall Street Journal survey, he was down to 72% of Republicans. So we're back where we were over the summer, Brit, with Donald Trump needing to do base consolidation. It was fine then because he had a lot of time, but we're late in the game, and right now he's re-herding his own sheep when he needs to be raiding someone else's ranch. So we got to see if in the polling that comes out later this week, if he did enough to explain to Republicans and apologize to Republicans and bring them back on board. I'm dubious that he would get that low of a number on Election Day among his own party. So my suspicion is once the number goes back up into the 80s, you'll see some retightening in the national surveys.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking about Mitt Romney back 4 years ago. He got on Election Day, he got, 93% of the Republican vote? So it would appear, at least as we look out from this moment, Scott, that Mr. Trump has a lot of ground to make up even among Republicans.
He really does. And we should caution that this poll was taken as the video was being released. It's a smaller sample, and it could be an outlier, and that's why it's always wise to wait and see what other data you get after a few days go by. I do think Republicans largely accepted his performance last night, and so we should see it begin to bounce back. But as you say, we've got a long way to go to get back up to 90%, and it's really hard to imagine somebody winning the presidency without 90% of their own party. So he's got a lot of ground to make up. We'll see if any of it happened in the debate last night. My suspicion is it did among some Republicans, but I'm not sure it did among other constituencies that he would need to then put him over the hump.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good question. We've talked a lot about the suburban moms, educated white women, and like the suburbs around Philadelphia that have become such a sort of a symbol of what where a Republican needs to do better than Republicans have done in recent cycles. As you watched the debate last night, Scott, what were your thoughts about whether those constituencies and others like them might respond to his performance?
Well, my first thought was that his strategy was to keep the base together. I mean, there's about 40% of the country that sees it the way Donald Trump sees it. They'd never vote for Hillary Clinton under any circumstance. And some people actually do share his worldview and his policy view. That makes up about 40, but that's just not enough to win. He's gotten up to almost a tie with Hillary Clinton at some points in the campaign. Right now, he's not tied. Right now, he's losing. So last night was about trying to get that base back together that gets within shouting distance of a tie. But boy, time is running out. We already have early voting going on in some states. People are casting their ballots and making up their minds. And so if he has to spend the next month just getting back to where he was, that's no recipe for winning. It's a lot of work to do in a short amount of time.
Yeah, viewership was off from the first debate, so he was obviously speaking to a smaller audience. Hard to know whether you'll have an even smaller audience for the third debate, which our Chris Wallace is moderating. We're all looking forward to that for obvious reasons. But your thoughts about what he might try to do then?
Well, at this point, if the poll numbers are staying the same, showing him losing the race, he'll literally have nothing to lose at the third debate. So he'll probably continue to go for broke on attacking the Clintons and their past sexual scandals. They clearly think that's a ticket to win this race. I'm not sure that it is. The polling doesn't necessarily back that up, but they believe that it is. It's certainly a ticket to try to hold a lot of the Republican base together. The Republicans don't like the Clintons, of course, but getting over the hump. We've never seen Trump get over the hump in the polling. He's gotten close, but he's never quite gotten over the hump. And so just focusing on this 40% of the country that loves what he's talking about right now is not going to be enough to win. So at the third debate, he would try to probably go for broke on the Clintons and then maybe come up with some kind of policy discussion that would attract new people. But that is quite a Hail Mary scenario to be throwing at the end of a presidential campaign like this one.
It certainly is, Scott. Thank you very much. Today, as many people now know,